Republicans have backed themselves into a political corner with their big, beautiful bill. In order to pay for their massive tax cuts for the wealthy and large corporations, they have to cut Medicaid or something else. But they've chosen to cut Medicaid. Cutting Medicaid is very unpopular, especially among the coalition of voters that now make up Donald Trump's base. And the way they're trying to wriggle out of this inconvenient truth is either to just lie about it, claim they're not cutting benefits, or in the case of Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, to admit they don't care if people are hurt. Well, we're all going to die, she says. Well, today we got an estimate from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, which says nearly 11 million people could lose their health insurance under this plan. That is roughly the population of the state of Georgia. Republicans can say whatever they want about the bill, and they will, but that's the reality they're facing. Senator Bernie Sanders, an independent of Vermont, the ranking member of the Health Committee, and he joins me now. Senator, it's good to have you on.
Thank you.
Your colleagues, your Republican colleagues, to the extent they're making an argument on this, but particularly in the House, I would say no one's going to lose. Like, basically, I think the argument is only immigrants or people that are kind of lazy and just don't want to work are going to be ones cut off of benefits, and you shouldn't worry about that.
Well, you should worry about it. The truth is, Chris, when they talk about a quote-unquote work requirement, understand that every year 20 million people in this country lose their jobs or change jobs and so forth. And for all of those people, many of them low-wage workers who are dependent upon Medicaid, they're going to have to fill out a dozen different forms. They're not going to do it. So the plan is to intentionally drive people, that is the goal, to drive people off of Medicaid so that they can save substantial sums of money, some $700 billion, and then transfer that to the wealthiest people in this country through massive tax breaks for the rich and very large corporations. And I should mention, as I think everybody knows, this comes on top of the fact that our current healthcare system is broken, it is dysfunctional. We got 85 million people already who are uninsured or underinsured. Many of them are working. This will only make a terrible situation even worse. And by the way, if I can say, it's not just individuals who are going to lose their health insurance. Medicaid pays about 60% of nursing home costs, which means that nursing homes that are struggling right now are going to suffer. Hospitals are going to suffer. It's going to have a massive impact on an already broken healthcare system.
We should also know one of the things in the CBO report, there's a bunch of things that Democrats did when they were in power, particularly in the American Rescue Plan, to shore up Obamacare and get more people in. In fact, the number that were insured grew every year under Biden, and that was because of policy mechanisms, which
I know about that. I helped write that bill.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm explaining for the viewer, not for you. But point being that should those expire, which they're set to, and I don't think they're going to re-up, that's another 5 million people. Like, there's other attacks on the system they're doing that are getting less attention, but that's another 5 million people, according to that CBO report today.
It's absolutely. It is beyond. It's totally unconscionable. And to do that in order to give massive tax breaks to people today on the top who have never, ever had it so good is beyond cruel. It is really almost unspeakable. But you know what, Chris? I mean, this whole issue touches on what Trumpism is really about. If you think about it, what Trumpism is about, it's, when he goes to Saudi Arabia and he loves this guy MBS, who is a murderer, killed a Washington Post journalist, but he's rich, and you can make a deal with him. Well, what this is all about is that if you're rich in America and you can make campaign contributions, you are entitled to massive tax rates because you're superhuman beings. But if you're a poor working stiff going out, you're working in McDonald's, you're working in a factory, you're struggling to put food on the table, hey, you are entitled to nothing. We're going to cut not only health care in this bill, massive cuts in nutrition for kids, for elderly people, massive cuts in education, making it harder for kids to be able to attend college. That is what Trumpism is about, for the superior people, the Elon Musks of the world, the people who are successful. We're going to make them more successful. You're a working stiff. You're entitled to nothing. And the other interesting element about this whole thing Because, Elon Musk came out against it. See, he was offended that this is going to raise the national debt, and he wants more cuts.
Yes.
This is the richest guy on earth, wants more cuts in nutrition programs for hungry kids, in healthcare, in education. And what are you saying, which takes you to another outrage in the American system, is obviously he helps fund the Republican Party. So he said, if you don't go, in so many words, you don't go along with me, you know what, we're going to get rid of you. You're out of office. So much for democracy in the Republican Party.
Do you think, I'm just asking your former colleague, Senator Jon Tester, this, I mean, there are people who think basically doesn't cut enough, right? It doesn't screw people enough on Medicaid or SNAP, and are making noises about voting against them. How seriously do you take those noises from someone like Ron Johnson?
I think Ron is a serious guy. He doesn't look. Many of these people barely believe in government. I mean, you think I'm exaggerating?
No.
Government is an impediment to billionaires being able to do what they want. If they want to build a factory and pollute a river or a lake, hey, what is the problem? That's their right to do. They want to buy the American political system. Hey, that's their right. They're successful. So people like Johnson, believe very strongly that national, with Musk, that they want to bring down the national debt. They're certainly not going to go after the tax breaks for the rich. By the way, $150 billion more for the military, which has not been able to complete a successful audit. They're not going to go after that. What does it mean? It means they'll continue their tax against the working class.
Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, thanks for making some time for us tonight.
Thank you very much, Chris.